Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm actually going to show you guys how I do my eyebrows because a lot of you guys have been asking for it. So I'm going to show you guys now what I do for my brows. First thing I like to do is go in with a primer, any primer of some sort, and I like to use this Tarte one, and I just kind of go over my brows like that. So there's two ways that I usually do my brows. I usually use either a brow gel. This one's by NYX. It's one of my favorite things to fill in my brows with. Or I go in with the ANASTASIA Beverly Hills Brow Duo. And it's like this. I'm in the shade Chocolate for this one. So I like to go back and forth between these two. So I'm going to show you guys on this brow how to do it with a powder, and then on this brow how to do it with the NYX brow gel. Alright, so now that we have our brows primed and ready to go, the first thing that I do is take my brow pencil. This one is the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. It looks exactly like the ANASTASIA brow is, but you can literally use any brow pencil that you have. So I take the spoolie at the end of the pencil and just comb my brow hairs upward. You just want to make sure they're in the same direction as which your brows grow. And then I go ahead and line underneath my brows. Also, if you don't know where your brows should start and end, you can definitely align your brush or your pencil to the side of your nose, and you can make a little dot right there. And then you also want to align it this way. It should align with your bottom lash line, and it should probably stop somewhere over there. And then your arch should kind of go upwards and align with your pupil. So mine's right there. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and work on filling that in. So once I have that line down, I like to go in with the spoolie again and brush that product I just placed, just so it's not too harsh on the bottom of my lashes. Just so it's not too harsh on the bottom of my eyebrow. What the heck? So once that's done, I quickly use the same brow pencil to kind of trace the top. So you can brush your hairs downwards like that, and then just go up above it. And then try to connect it like that. So I'm now going to show you how I fill in my brow with the ANASTASIA brow pomade. Why do I keep saying brow freaking pomade? I'm going to show you guys how I fill in my brows with the ANASTASIA brow powder. God damn it. Alright, so I'm going to go in with another brush. This one's just a simple angled brush, which looks like that. You can honestly get this from any drugstore, and it has a spoolie on the back. Elf had one that I really love, but I lost it, but this one's good as well. Just any angled brush. Alright, so now I'm going to go in with a darker shade right here. This is the powder, by the way, and I just go in like that and just tap off the excess. And I also like to start on the end of my brow. You don't want to start from this part, because that just makes it look like you don't really want to start making your brows thick from the front of your brow, because that just makes it look fake. So I like to turn my head this way, and I have my mirror in front of me like that, and I go in and just fill in. So the powder does give you a lot of volume without you having to go back and forth too many times. So I just use the powder like this on the end. And then I really work on pushing the product into my brow. So again, on the tail end of your brow, you just want to focus most of the darkness of the brow pomade. You just want to focus most of the darkness of the brow powder on the end. And then I'm just going to use the rest of the brow powder that's left on the brush and just kind of go underneath and then right on top over here. And then I'm also just keeping this area right here really blank. So then next step I do is just go in with a spoolie and just make sure I'm really brushing all the product throughout my entire brow. Just going like that. So using the spoolie to brush through your brow helps the product apply and look more even, as opposed to when you don't brush it through at all. So just really keep the front of your brow really faint looking and then keep brushing it through. As you can see, I haven't really added any product here, but because I keep spooling through this, it's really adding color to the front of my brow without me having to add any more color. So it's taking the excess off of right here and then placing it right here, and then also making it look more even. Alright, now we're going to move on to this brow, and I'm going to show you how to do it with the NYX brow gel. And I'm in the shade Espresso for this one. So it comes in a little tube like that, and I like to just take a little bit and just place that on the back of my hand. So I take about that much and then place that on the back of my hand. So placing it on the back of my hand really helps the product to really warm up because of my body heat. So doing that makes the product more fluid to apply, and it goes on much more easier. I honestly prefer the brow gel better than the ANASTASIA brow pomade, honest opinion. And it's also cheaper. So when I'm using the brow gel, I like to go in with a much more smaller angled brush, whereas when I'm using the powder one, I usually go in with this brush, which is more larger and has more surface area. So with the brow gel, I don't really line underneath my brow. I just kind of go in and spoolie my brows upwards like that, and then going in the product on the back of my hand that's already nice and warmed up, I just start filling that in. So for this part, I start from like 3/4 into the brow, and I start to draw my arch. So once that's done, again, I go in and spoolie the product throughout the entire brow. And then now I'm not just going to go ahead and work on filling in the brow and giving it volume, just like we did on this end. You just want to start with light strokes, again from the end arch of your brow, making sure you are drawing or making strokes in the same way as which your brows grow. You can do your brows however you want, but if you're really trying to sculpt them out, just go for it. Whatever you think works for you, that's what I would do. Kind of fake draw hair-like strokes in the front of my brow. And I really like to extend my brow so it's really like aligned or in line with the bottom part of my lash line. Same for this part. So I really should extend this down a little bit more. Alright, so moving on to really sculpt out my brows and make it look more sharp, you know, I normally go in with a brush and some concealer. This is the concealer I love to use to sculpt my brows because it's really creamy and it moves really nicely. Sometimes I like to switch and go for my LA Girl Pro concealer. It just depends. But I feel like this one gives me more of a really nice sculpted brow because it is really creamy and it glides on really nicely. So about the brush, this is just from the BH Cosmetics set. It is a rounded brush, so that helps me really get in there and then curve it however I want. You can also use a flat top brush, but I find that to be a little bit harder to work with, or you can use an angled brush. Okay, so I just kind of go in like this and get like one scoop and then get another. Also, you want to pay attention to how you hold your brushes. So I'm just going to hold this like a pen, see, and then you want to flip it. You want to flip it and have it stand in your hand this way. That way it gives you much more control. Also, bear in mind not to hold your brush all the way here. It just makes it more harder. You really can't move your hand as much. And this way you're really more likely to mess up as opposed to when you're holding it this way where you have more control. So again, just hold your brush downwards, like almost halfway down. Just make sure you're really comfortable with it. And then you want to focus your you can either focus this finger on your face to give you a really nice balance. See how this kind of like glides nicely? But you can also just hold it like this and just go like that. And again, I like to start from the arch. So normally I go over the top part of my brow with some concealer because I usually do my brows before my foundation. How I do the concealer trick on this brow, and I'm going to show you how I do the no concealer or foundation on this brow so you guys can see the difference. Going in with the same MAC concealer, I just go in for a little tiny bit. I honestly just wipe it on the back of my hand, making sure the concealer is nicely saturated but not too much. I tilt my head this way and then I hold the brush this way with the flat part being flat on my head like this. And hold it this way and then flip your hand. See, I go like this and I just flip my hand this way. You want to also angle it in how your brow is going. So then I start lightly with light strokes. First, I go ahead and just make a straight line outwards like that. And then that's when I go ahead and then work on my arch. Because whenever I try to like just work on the arch, it just kind of like messes up. So I like to draw a line first and then work on connecting the arch. And then I go in and then connect this part. So this is the brow that has concealer on both top and bottom. I'm going to show you how to do it this way with either no product or with foundation. Taking a paper towel and wiping my concealer brush totally, making sure it's like concealer free. And then I just go ahead and make it look right up top here. That looks good enough and clean enough in my opinion, so you can also get away with doing that. But I like to go in with some foundation if I just want like a natural looking brow, or I use my LA Girl Pro concealer in the shade Toast. This is really the same exact skin color. I can actually apply this as foundation, but I'm going to use my MAC foundation today just because. Go in and do the same exact thing we did here on this brow, but we're using foundation this time. You can also do the little frown face that looks super weird, and then doing this makes the muscles here more tense, so it gives you more like a straight line. So if you have problems with getting your brow line straight, just kind of like frown and then just go for it, girl. Alright, so now that you got your product and your brows are looking semi fleeky, you can go in with your finger and just blend it out like this. It also acts like priming your eyelids for your eyeshadow. Or you can go in with a brush. This is from BH Cosmetics. It's just a concealer brush. Looks like this, really fluffy too. So I'm going to use a brush on this part of my brow. I like to look up like this, kind of tilt my head backwards, and then really get in there and move that product around. This is pretty much what I do for my brows. So the last step that I like to personally go in is use a brow gel to kind of set my brows and make sure that it's really locked in place. So I'm going to go in with the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel. It looks like this. So I'm just going to go in with a brush that looks like this and just has clear brow gel on it. So same routine applies to this. You just want to brush through your hairs, making sure they're laying flat and they're really not going anywhere. If you want to take you out swimming on the first day, your brows are staying there. They're not going anywhere, honey. And yeah, that's pretty much all I do to get my brows looking like this. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any more questions, let me know and I'll be sure to answer them. And I really hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions or anything at all that I talked about, just let me know and I'll explain it later in a different video or explain it down in the comment section. Again, thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you guys in my next one.